Welcome to the IVM Podcast Network.
TFG Football is an IVM production, and you can also check out their other awesome shows like the On Course Podcast, a show where they help you to tackle various questions related to abroad studies, like which university to choose or how to navigate the application process.
You're listening to TFG Football.
Hello and welcome everyone. Well, today we had a big task while reaching, but finally we are here in the studio. As we all know, our recording happens in the morning, but today it got delayed a bit, and that's why maybe you're listening to the show a bit delayed. But hey, we managed to reach the studio amidst all the rains and all the troubles, and here we are to talk about football, right? Indian football is what brings us always back, and the love for and our passion for the game is what brings us always together.
And the love for AIFF.
Yeah, well, no, that is that's very bad. Okay, so moving on, we have pretty much signings today. Chiranjit is not joining us today on the show. It's just me and Kevin, but don't worry, we will not bitch about Mohan Bagan or East Bengal or any legacy clubs, because we are not talking about that today. We have a lot of signings to talk about. First of all, we start with the coach, Northeast United, once again, in a very comical fashion, really announced they are...
Not so comical. Really.
But now it got annoying. So yeah, one after the other. But they finally really announced their coach, João Carlos Perez do Deus. No, this is not the 4 to 5 different people. That's
it's
one
not
person.
40 all.
Yeah, the 40-year-old coach. Now he will be replacing Wingara, and we saw how Wingara was instrumental. I mean, Northeast came. They had a best season so far in the last edition. So now he's got an experience, the new coach. I'll call him Carlos Deus. He's got an experience of coaching Portugal and then some clubs, lower division clubs up back there. He's also had Sporting Club de Portugal, so all of these known teams. A young guy, I think, the motto of Northeast, as in we've seen over the 3 years that they've stuck to the young players. We always see a fresh side. So I think getting a coach also who's not that old, 40 years of age, but with so much of experience, I think it's going to be a great season. Kevin?
Yes, 40 is not too old in football. We've seen Khalid Jamil, who just turned 40 by the time he finished the ISL season.
Yeah.
Good experience related to implementing grassroots philosophy in the club that he was involved in, and he has also been a national coach for a nation. So great experience backing him along with his age. So we can expect he might have just stopped playing like not too many years back. So it really helps when you're being a player turning into a coach. It gives you a lot more experience, a fresh perspective into team building, squad building, and that's an appropriate time that he's been appointed, because the squads are not yet completed. It's just on the verge of breaking out and signing players according to the philosophy of the club. But interestingly, we've not seen Northeast as Northeast philosophy, because we've seen the younger clubs from younger players coming up through I-League clubs, but ISL hasn't followed that. It's not been the development of the young player. It's been more of a compact team and trying to
it's a mixture, if you go to see.
Yes.
There, at some point you might see ek ya do aa jayega, but majority it's already the known players that we see and excel in such things.
Yes.
But how do you see he taking on what Wingara has left? Because somewhere down the line I thought Wingara would have stayed, because he was a coach, a proper coach who had even his persona, he had an aura of the presence of the personality of a coach. And how do you think that well, we know it's a short stint always, so we can't really say there was an association, but he really knew, he understood the game really well. He got Northeast almost close. So how do you think this young man, coming with a lot of experience, let's just put that in highlight, because let's not always say young guy, but with no experience. He comes with a lot of experience. How do you think he's going to take that ahead and keep Northeast United, up and running?
Yeah, it's always easy to get on with a team which is not yet created. So he's not coming into a team that has been built.
Right.
For that reason, I say it's easy on his part, because he might have a say in getting in the players that he wants, because that ultimately
Of course,
leads to the formation of the ideology that what the club management is looking for, rather than the coach is given a team that's already set. There is a difference in that.
Yeah.
So Vingada might not have had the best of say in the squad building, but then he did a commendable job. His words were so clear. He wouldn't beat around the bush, just straight to the point. That was the best thing that I loved about him. And he's taken this experience. He's moved to Malaysia, national team coach there.
Yeah, he's also packed up the assistant coach.
Yeah,
right?
that's the package. Always,
You mentioned,
it does follow on. So what we've seen is a coach usually gets in players, or he influences the team, because the background that he comes from is very instrumental in having the players that he wants. Now he's from Portugal. He's spent a lot of time playing and coaching teams all around the world. So there's a natural chance that he will get in players whom he feels are perfect fit for the team. That goes for every coach in the ISL, because that we've seen FC Goa and Zico, the association, what it got.
Yeah.
Brazilians came into the team. So this might see more Portuguese players coming in, and Portuguese we know they again they are right down to the grassroots. They look at player development right from the beginning. It's not like India. We try to push on players who are hitting their teenage and later on.
Yeah.
Here it's not the way. In European, they lay a lot of emphasis on creating the player right from scratch, getting the technicalities right. So we might see a lot of Portuguese players and the clubs that he was associated with coming in.
Yeah. Now, just one more point. Now, we don't know yet the final score, right? We only know the two players that have been retained. Northeast have retained the services of Renesh TP and Roland Borges, both young chaps, and both upcoming, really good future stars. So how do you think the relation between Deuce and, these two... These two should really, I think, grasp everything that they can under this man and, be up there. And you never know if anything can happen for them back in Portugal or anywhere that this guy has. So you never know. He has a scouting eye as well.
No, if you can get in players from Portugal or other countries where the coaches come in to India, it can always work the other way around. You can always have players. How we've seen assistant coaches moving along with the head coaches to other countries or clubs they move to. We can always see a player movement as well.
Yeah.
That's always a good part for Indian players, and we talked about how good it is for the development and the career of an Indian player to play overseas.
Yeah, so I think it's going to be really interesting to see all of this. Now, moving on, we continue with the signings. Now, Bengaluru FC have been on a signing spree, and they have their own way and tradition, to tease the fans that they send a lot of fillers or teasers before it. And
Northeast can take a cue from these.
Yeah, exactly. I think every team can because everybody's trying to do it. But only BFC have been successful to tweak the funny bone in you. Now, coming back, serious stuff. They've signed now there's a lot of Spanish flavor in Bengaluru. I think, is that a Roca influence?
Again, see, I just spoke about it. It does have an influence of the coach because it makes it easier for the squad to be built, because the coach knows his players. He knows how he can fit into the club's the pathway forward, because that drives the club forward. Look at I-League clubs like Shillong Lajong and Minerva. They are stuck to that policy of getting the youth up the ranks and moving them out. You see what Minerva has given to the national team. Under 17 team is almost made up of Minerva players. This again falls back to what the club wants. AFC Cup is up for grab for the ISL teams. They want to get in that. A strong foreign lineup. It makes the team more competent. That's what Roca is looking at. They've just look at the squad that they made. At one time we talked about Bengaluru being just
dissolved,
wiped. It's just wiped away by everything, and they had Udanta and Chetri. Now look at them. they've got 3 Spanish players, new players. I think Watson is the one who's left. So it leaves with John Johnson. John Johnson is again from the UK. What experience does he get in? 3
He's
Spanish
always there.
players.
He knows the whole condition and inside out of Bengaluru FC.
The squad is half built.
Yeah.
Just at some time back, we were saying they've got no one, and look at them. I think 4-6 players they've already signed up, and they even have a plan in place now.
I think it's a great mixture of Aussie and Spanish over here,
They will have to have players of Asian origin because the AFC Cup has that statutory origin.
Yeah.
And the Asian quota needs to be filled. So that will be the Aussies and Japanese players. So we've not seen Bengaluru FC seeing a lot of Japanese players. It's mostly Australians.
So that's what the recent signing comes in, Antonio Dovale, the Spanish winger, and I think it's going to be a really interesting. It's a 1-year deal, and he's 27 years old. He also had back home, experience playing alongside along with many other clubs. So it's going to be interesting to see how Udanta, train himself. He's also still young. It's not only from the coaches that you learn, you also learn from the players in your squad, not just your senior players that you look up to from the national team, but the ones who come up from the foreign countries, the neighboring countries, because you learn so much. And Udanta is one guy who will always have room for improvement, and he will ace it up, So BFC looks interesting. It always looked. I never removed the money on them.
They are the team that is taken the most steps towards squad building and preparing for the next campaign.
No matter what is wiped out, the team is goals. I think what remains is the core, because their philosophy, they're stuck to that core, saying that we will look at young players, we will look at experience, it will be a balance. It won't be always of foreign players coming and dominating, or because he always stuck to it. I mean, Pajandal has said he would want to win the title with 11 Indian players on the field. So
that
motto remains.
That's ideal, yeah.
That motto remains. So I think it's going to be a great balance, and Bengaluru will continue to do that. Now coming back, another interesting stuff, right? It's always Northeast, Bengaluru, all look interesting now. Leading up to the draft system, it's going to be fun this time. Now, precisely talking about Delhi Dynamos, now this is a team that we always thought are never taking things seriously, because they always had big names in their squad. The first season not so much, but when it came like Roberto Carlos, and then they came up with Zambarota, or with the players that they've had, Maluda. Not that Maluda was not good, he was instrumental, but again, you are not getting an experienced coaching guy who can live up to that experience and give your team or take your team ahead. And we only seen, even if they've come close, it's always by fluke or by chance or something has happened. But I think this time they're taking something seriously, because they've got the 61-year-old guy who has had immense experience, and once again a European flavored guy. So they're going to sit down and work hard, because they have 9 other teams competing for draft, and Jamshedpur also will be starting from scratch. So how do you see Delhi? Are they trying to fix their mistakes?
I think one point I would disagree with you is Delhi did play well last season.
Yeah, they did play well last season. I'm not taking that away.
One of the best performances that we've seen from any team, a consistent performance, and we've seen the wingers, the midfield.
They had
everything.
A great squad. Yeah.
Excellent. It wasn't a one-man dominated game. It was an overall team of performance. Yeah. So moving ahead of that, so ISL itself has learned from its mistakes. That is, having a player come manager or a player come coach.
The marquee
did
thing
not work.
Yeah.
They've tried to change, and things started working in their favor when they did get a full-time coach who's just responsible for one thing, that is to get the technicalities, the different aspects of the game right, rather than just having a marquee name or a star name who can do wear double hats and try to do like a Superman.
Exactly, or just to attract people to the stadium.
So now the things, it's past now. Now everybody's focused towards coaching, because ISL itself is not a 2-month season anymore.
Yeah.
So things are going to work in a proper progressive way, and that's what Delhi are doing. There was one point in yesterday's press conference that was put out. So I really don't understand these questions, saying that somebody asked the coach, will there be a language barrier between you and the team? So he says football is the same everywhere. You don't need to talk.
Exactly.
You don't need to talk. You need to show it. That's what a coach does. He's not going to give you a motivation lecture. Okay, this is how football is played. He just put it into drills. That's how it is translated into
and
training.
And he definitely have a coaching staff.
Yeah, and for talking, if you're not comfortable, if you don't know the language, there's always a translator for the press conference.
Exactly.
A coach is not made to be present at press conference. You don't see the ability of the coach of speaking in the public.
His language is football.
You see how it's translated into the training.
Exactly. I mean, I think it's funny because even now we ask that question, right? It's very funny because even after seeing. When you see, I'm pretty sure everybody follows the La Ligas or the EPLs and everything. Do you think that Messi knew to speak English? Or leave Messi. Messi is not come to EPL, but Ronaldo for that matter.
The coach is not here for personality development.
Exactly. Look at all your EPL coaches. Not a single English coach has won the trophy. It's always been Conte, Mourinho, the Leicester guy. I mean Ranieri. They're all Italians. And also I don't understand.
I can sing English.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, look at Wenger. He's not ready to leave Arsenal. So, I think the language here is common.
Why are you coming back to Arsenal?
Well, I don't know.
We're talking about ISL now.
You never know. He might just come. We might just see him in ISL also. You never know in the future. Well, coming back to what we were trying to say, the language here is just football, right? I mean, that's what you want to communicate. Nothing else. Nobody's going to test you with your language skills. So moving on, that brings us to the end of the show. Kevin, an exciting season. Though we've had a lot of off the talk, off the field, a lot of nonsense happening, but I think something looks interesting.
No, lot. Interesting also and progressive also.
Yep.
It's not a haphazard manner of getting a team assembled in a short period of time and just for the heck of it. Get the star names to get the fans come and watch you. It's proper team building. It's proper football. Yeah, that's how it should be.
Yeah, I think one point that I'm going to repeat again what Kevin mentioned is a summary of all these things. Like, I think things are changing and ISL is learning from his own mistakes because it's becoming a longer season and it wants to be the top division. So things are changing gradually and we are seeing proper rules coming into it, and also Bengaluru will be there where there are rules, right? So they won't play just like that. So a great season, looking forward to whether it's ISL or I-League. Now that's all for today's show. Hope you enjoyed this and leave your comments below. If you're listening to us on YouTube, then like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon so you get updates of our new episode. You can also talk to us directly on Twitter. Chiranjit is traveling, but you can always catch him on Twitter. Chiranjit Oja, Boza Kevin, Siju Matthew 94. Also read about all these stories up on our website, thefangarage.com. Follow the TFG football Twitter handle. Have a great day, folks. And for all those who have not heard the interview, we have an Ishfaq Ahmed interview up on our site, the newly appointed assistant coach of Jamshedpur FC. So go ahead, listen to that. And have a great day, folks. Enjoy. Come back to us tomorrow because we're a daily show. Bye.
That was Tantrik Steve from Hansraj College, Delhi, performing at IIT Bombay's Mood Indigo. Just like them, there's a lot of new talent and art coming out of colleges all across India, but unfortunately most of this goes completely unnoticed or ignored. To fix this, we started atkt.in. Hi, I'm Ankur, I'm a musician and a rapper, and I found that one of the best things about being an artist myself is finding new talent. Through atkt.in, Tanya, my colleague who's a dancer, and our whole team really is putting all of our efforts into discovering and promoting all the coolest talent that's coming out of colleges all across India. And this goes up on our website, our social media, TV, radio, and now, of course, this podcast with IVM. Make sure you go to our website, support the talent with your likes, your shares, your comments. All of that really matters. Go ahead, check it out. atkt.in.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is your captain speaking. Sorry to say, but there's been a slight delay due to the apocalypse having suddenly begun. As you can see, there's death, destruction, and chaos taking place all around us. But don't you worry, food and drinks will be served shortly, and I would recommend checking out
IVM Podcasts
to catch some of your favorite Indian podcasts. We'll keep you going till this whole thing blows over. Thank you.